Hey guys, hello guys. I am Nakar Grattagliano, host of Shogun Valley. Today our guest is Andrea Garwood. She is a wine expert, and she works for a bunch of organizations, and she has an interesting story to share with us. Hey Andrea, how are you?
Very good, very good. I'm doing very well. Thank you for the invitation. Just a little correction. I'm not a wine expert. Absolutely not. Many people know much more than wine, much more about wine than I do. I like to sell wine and I appreciate wine.
Oh, you like to sell wine, so and you appreciate it, and you're passionate about.
Passionate about. I've learned a lot about wine, but I'm definitely not an expert. There are people who know tons about wine.
So during, I was curious because you started your formation as an anthropologist and archaeology, and then you moved kind of into like business and real estate. Then there was a period you worked for an organization called the World Trade Center. So I'm curious, how did your career develop, and how did
Sure.
how did interest first of all for sales and selling developed from archaeology, and how was this whole journey that brought you to the wine, brought you closer to the wine world?
Well, I think that there's sort of a natural ability for people if they're like able to sell or not, right? So that's sort of just one thing. My formation, yes, I studied archaeology, and so I have a love of history. And it's sort of a natural progression that someone who really likes history would naturally like the wine culture, because here in Italy, wine is history. It really is. It's about the region. It's about what happened in that region. Some wines really are from antiquity, and it's very interesting because the wine industry is history, and it's also family, right? So it's very easy to be passionate about wine because it's everything that Italy is, really. And selling the wine really was just an interesting opportunity that I had. I met a person who had a wine network and was lacking Italy. So I was able to start out in this wine network. And now we're on our own, and we sell to over 20 different countries. And I have over 90 producers, all different types of wines. And but it's my job, but it's also my passion. I mean, you probably agree, if you're passionate about something, then it's easy to turn it into a job, or maybe not easy, but you like the job if you're passionate about it, is what I'm trying to say, right?
So I mean, your job is really into sales. So you think you have something that it sells, that you said some people got it, other people don't. So
Right. Because if you've I mean, we've all had an experience with a person who's not a good salesperson, right? I think everyone has had that experience, and you realize, like, you really want the product, but they're just not selling it to you. and I think that's something, either people have that or they don't. I don't really think that that's something that you can learn. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that's something that?
I believe it's maybe something you can. I mean, you probably could work. You can work on it. Like you can. That may not be your core ability. I mean, you can improve, definitely, but it's, I don't know, kind of like Michael Jordan. No one else can be Michael Jordan. You never play like him.
You can play basketball, right?
One thing you can do is probably you can learn some basket. You can improve your skill set, but that's as far as you go. Like, no matter how much you work, you simply don't have that genetics, and you simply don't have it.
Right.
You can become a better player, but you still, there's gonna be like, you're gonna be in that amateur league, and there's gonna be a point that's simply not you. So I suppose for the business world, you just, if you are trying to sell and you're not a good seller, you're probably going to have to hire someone who can sell. You're going to have to, you know, assess your weakness. You're going to say, I'm just not really that good at this.
Right.
You know, I'm really banging my head against the wall to improve. I think if you do that, it will, you know, it will carry you forward. I mean, even if you,
Yeah.
just like training a muscle. I mean, if you hit that muscle, I mean, sooner or later it's going to be better than before. But
Right.
you will
Some things
you will
take
never
to a
achieve high
certain level,
levels.
but
Yeah, I mean,
did I don't know. I also just popped into my head the concept also of like learning a language. When I came to Italy, I spoke very, very, very little Italian, very little Italian. And it was in 91, and here in Trieste, not really many people spoke English. So I was really forced to learn Italian pretty quickly. And I used to watch these, you know, I was teaching English, and during my little break, I would go back to my apartment and watch soap operas, because the soap operas have these close-ups, and they're always repeating the same story, right? It's always, you know, soap opera from 1 day to 30 days. It's the same story. And I remember learning all this Italian, you know, through soap operas and through TV. And that's something that when I was living in America, I didn't feel like I was really good at languages at all. But then when I got here, I mean, I learned really quickly. So it's kind of is also your environment, right?
yeah, it's your environment. It's of course, if you are with probably with some co-workers that are really good at this skill, and you have all of these influences around you, and you kind
Right.
of grow as a salesman or just as anyone in this context. I mean, you're probably going to be better off than you know, when, I mean, people adapt pretty quickly. I think that's what we have done all across evolution.
Absolutely.
When we are
Absolutely.
just,
I agree.
when we are just, they put us in one context, and like you have to adapt some way. It's like for you, it was with the Italian, and it was kind of like you know, you want to move around here, you want to catch a bus, you want to have a conversation, you want to have a life here. Well, you have to learn Italian. Like it's a must. So
A must, especially in that time period, there really not many people speaking English. Another thing that was huge to get used to was the shop store hours. You know, everything like would close at 1 o'clock and then reopen at like 3:30. It was so frustrating for me. Everything always seemed like it was closed. I don't know. I had a big problem with that. Just
because
getting
yeah,
used to
let's talk a
stuff.
little bit about, to understand this. Let's talk a little bit about your background. You come from America, so
Right.
um,
Everything's open 24 hours.
everything is open 24 hours. And so when you get here, it's a totally different lifestyle. It's the 90s. You don't have all of this internet going on. You can like just do a couple of clicks and take a course on in internet, and it's just this different lifestyle that's going on. So it's really, I believe, a cultural, some cultural shock in a way. Although
Absolutely.
it's a European country, so it's a Western country. So I believe that shock, it's somehow not
Makes it
so
easier.
big.
Soft landing. Soft
Yeah.
landing.
So what happened with you? I mean, you grew up in America. Where did you grow up, and what was your?
I grew up in New Jersey, and I went to Rutgers University, which is the State University of New Jersey. And then I moved to Hawaii, and I lived in Hawaii for a little bit. And that's where I actually was doing work as an archaeologist. And then I came to Trieste. I met a Triestino in Hawaii, and I came with a one-way ticket. Crazy.
So so you moved from New Jersey, you moved to Hawaii, where you started to do some archaeology work. Apparently, there's a lot of sites.
No. This was actually for an sort of like an engineering company. I don't remember now, but they were called in when there is like federal money used to build roads or anything like that. They have to call in an archaeologist, and it was just sort of doing some,
just to investigate if maybe there is something. We have this in Italy where you have, before you develop some buildings, You just have to find out if there is some
Exactly.
ancient, you know,
Exactly.
ancient art that's lying there. Otherwise, you can't build. Kind of. So they'll get some
There's
archaeologists in, and they'll just dig and find out. And yeah, I understand. So then you come to Italy with you fall in love with some Triestino man. You come to Italy. You take that one-way ticket. At the time, you was young and a little bit crazy. So you arrive here and you don't speak
Yeah.
Italian, and your
I
only
don't
point
speak
of
Italian.
reference is this man, probably because you have this
Well, I
man.
don't speak Italian. What happened is essentially I came, my relationship ended, but I was luckily got a job right away teaching English. So I really wanted to learn Italian. I really wanted to stay. I really loved the city. It was beautiful. And I felt like I really wanted to make it meaningful, right? So I had a job so I could pay for an apartment, and I decided I'll stay for 6 months. And then I
So,
I figured I would stay for 6 months a year. I figured wait until I learned Italian, right? And could afford a ticket back home. But at that point, I really started to enjoy my time here. And I loved Trieste, as I said. I loved the language. I love everything, the food, the wine, everything. And then I met my future husband, and I stayed.
so you leave from
Very
Hawaii because you meet some man. You arrive here. As soon as you arrive, this kind of relationship melts down. So you maybe you have some idea. Oh my God, I'm going with some of this Italian man and some
no,
crazy. You arrive
no.
here and you start your journey here as it's kind of like, well, fuck it, fuck you, man. You know, the relationship is ended, and you kind of find this job, and you start as an English teacher. So you
Yes,
say, well, I might as well stay around here, stay here for 6 months, and that led you to find your future husband. You fall in love with the city of Trieste. This is Trieste in the 90s, so it's quite different from now, including there were some areas of the cities that have changed, I believe, at the
right.
urban
Right.
level, and um,
Absolutely.
and and that's basic. That's your journey. So and since then you have always been you know, back and forward, I believe, no, from Italy to America. You always kept that
Sure.
connection alive.
Sure,
Mm.
sure. And now, apart from having the wine business, I also am part of the World Trade Centers Association, the board of directors. So that is wonderful because I'm able to travel a couple of times a year, which is very nice, to very cool locations. And that's really an association of about 300 World Trade Centers all over the world. And they are basically, you know, usually it's a nice real estate structure, a nice building, and it's branded World Trade Center, and then that office space is rented out. And the network provides also trade services, but it's interesting because it's from people from all over the world.
And what is it
All
you
over the
guys
world.
do? This is what I'm trying to say. What does the World Trade
The
Center?
network basically, as I said, it's all the World Trade Centers. What does each World Trade Center do? Is that what you're asking? That depends. It can be just office space that they rent out. It might be exhibition space. It might be like a convention center.
Hmm.
Usually, I mean, it's a piece of real estate.
So you guys, so it's a center that you guys trade with real estate, and you get to travel to various areas of the world across this with this organization, while you sell wine. And do you have some interesting wine story that you can share with us, or some particular wine that you want to promote, that you want to suggest that has a?
Oh, I just say, especially in this moment after COVID-19, I mean, honestly, drink Italian.
Hmm.
That's all I want to say. Drink Italian, anything Italian. It's always wonderful. It's always a wine that has great integrity and has a story behind it. It's made with passion. Drink Italian. That's my message.
That is the message.
Truly. To everyone, it's a sort of a little relief box, you know, to buy Italian, period, whether it be your car, your wine, your clothes. It's the best way to help out Italy.
So this when COVID-19 broke loose, I don't know if you remember, it was business as usual until one day it wasn't. And
Right.
how did that impact your life? Like, what was your? I mean, did you develop some interesting reflection, or I've seen some
For me,
crazy
for
things
me,
happening. Like some people I know, I've seen them after the COVID-19, and they pulling out crosses, and they had some kind of spiritual awakening. I saw one lady on the street. She was, she was just laying there, and she was kind of going, "Oh Jesus!" After this pandemic stuff. Some people had some really spiritual revelation. So it was, it was something that impacted a lot of people. Some young people I've talked with, they were. Uh, I don't know. They just had either some time to stay with themselves. Other people were going crazy, staying in the home, especially very
sure.
busy people. For some people, it was a kind of, a moment to enjoy time with their family, so they could have that part of their life that they did not have. And I mean, for so many, it was sad, because there was many deaths that were related with this, and it was a shocking event for everyone worldwide, and with a lot of victims, and it was kind of unexpected. It's something you would not expect in your lifetime. You would live something like this, and it just came out of the blue. So how did you perceive that, and what were
For
your
me,
yeah
for me, I realized during this whole lockdown experience that for me, I didn't realize, but now that I look back on it, it's so obvious. I needed something this intense to slow me down, because I wouldn't have been able to slow down as much as I've slowed down now without something as serious and grave as like a pandemic. Okay. So for me, the fact that it made me stop, screeching halt, stop. Honestly, I'm such a better person now. I recognize that my old lifestyle was really toxic. I discovered yoga, and I do yoga now every day, and I absolutely love it. And that really has given me the tools to really navigate this terrible moment. And if I can give anyone any advice at all, I would say start yoga, because it changed me. I'm such a better person now. And I feel like, gosh, it's my business is in, it's in a tight spot. I mean, export is very, very difficult right now. But if I didn't have this like core groundedness that I've gotten through practicing yoga, I would have been in a much worse off spot.
so for you it was, so I suppose you were pretty busy before this pandemic. You were,
Yeah. You could say pretty busy. I was crazy busy.
crazy busy. So you were crazy busy.
Crazy
Um,
busy. Workaholic.
Workaholic. Okay. And I've watched some interviews about some experts, and they talk
Ah,
about workaholism and the kind of the danger of workaholism, because unlike any other drug, alcoholism or any other type of substance abuse, it is a drug that is socially rewarded. I mean, you get a pat on the shoulder for being a workaholic. You get people shaking your hand. People be bravo. I mean, you work so much. Good on you. You admire.
right.
And instead, if you're hooked to alcohol or hooked to some crazy drug, people be like, shame on you. Well, that's really the only, or among the few drugs that is, actually socially rewarded. So it is a dangerous trap. And so this man, I don't recall his name. He was talking about, the danger of workaholism, and alongside this he was talking about the power of addiction. I think actually it was someone who had some sort of drug addiction when he was a young person, and what he was
Okay.
talking about is how I powerfully reuse this addiction, transfer it in the workplace. So I became I shift that addiction from a toxic drug addiction, that was what this man was talking about, to
Okay.
another addiction. you know, in order to get out of that addiction, I became addicted to disorder. So it was kind of the whole argument was circulating around the power of addiction and how to turn this addiction into something that's actually good and productive to you. And,
Wow.
and at a certain point in his journey, he found himself on the other side, on the other bracket, on this workaholism road. And to the point that he just, you know, he'll get, when he was back at home, I think it's with his wife or whatever, he just had these moments where he was like really grumpy, and just all of that other part came out. And so that was just
very good, very good. Well, thanks for having me here. It's very kind of you to invite me to talk. I appreciate that.
Oh, so I wanted to dive in if you have, because you said you started your yoga journey at
Yeah.
this point of your life. So you actually started when COVID-19.
No, actually, I started about 2 years ago, but I would just go once a week, and it's totally different if you do like once a week or every day in your home. That's what changed it, really.
There's many typologies of yoga. What type of yoga are you into?
I think it's pronounced Vinyasa yoga, where it's the breathing. Vinyasa. That's what it's.
Vinyasa yoga. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Nice, very nice. I suggest it.
That yoga practice kind of grounded you, and if you weren't for yoga, you would have lived that pandemic very differently. And you said I needed.
I think so.
The kind of lockdown and this to just slow me down and bring you back to this yoga. And what else did you discover in this lockdown? Because often nowadays we think we are in control of everything, whether it's our business or so many factors, and then you get this reality check. And
well, I think what else have I learned, I would say, regarding the business is that it's very important to have an element that's virtual, digital. You know, you need to have the possibility to shift everything virtual, you know, which I don't have. I don't sell wines virtually. I don't have a digital platform where everyone can come on and buy. That's like a whole different business. So, you know, you have to try and figure out ways to make it work. Thankfully, I feel like we're coming out of it, you know, so I think there's great opportunities still. But I mean, fortunately, my business did translate well for working remotely. So that was nice, that I didn't have to sacrifice the work because I couldn't get to the office. You know, some people have that issue. But yeah, I just really hope Italy can.
Your last takes is you suggest to people to start yoga because that grounds you, especially when there is a crisis scenario. And if you are not on the internet, or you don't have your kind of social media, your business incorporated on the web, you actually use this as a chance to get online and to get those distribution channels across the internet, get them going, because they are very, very important. That could be well. So I want to thank you, Andrea, for dedicating me this time, and I hope we can have you maybe some other time. And,
thanks for inviting me. Very kind. Good luck.